Hey guys, welcome back. So it's time to talk about Bitcoin. Unless you've been living under a rock, you will have noticed that Bitcoin is becoming a big thing in finance. It looks as though that we're all living through the birth of a brand new asset class. Having gone up over 300% last year, if you didn't own any, then you definitely missed out. And even though right now we're going through a bit of a pullback, I do think we're in the middle of a new bull market cycle. So the big questions to ask right now are, how high can Bitcoin go? Should you be buying or selling right now? And how do you play this next bull market cycle so you get to make some great gains but don't get too greedy and end up with nothing? That is the topic of this video and why this is actually quite important. You'll probably have noticed there's many experts and YouTubers out there pulling out some big numbers like 100,000, 500,000, or even that it's going to 1 million. But we can't just pick numbers of where we would like it to go. We have to back it up by data, logic, and reasoning. So in this video, I'm going to share with you where I think Bitcoin is going and also how I am going to play this next cycle. I'll share with you my favorite chart, which is my roadmap, and it's also been created using data science. So I've been investing in the crypto market ever since the last blow off in 2018. In fact, I invested right here. Now, within a couple of weeks, I had doubled my money. Within a few more weeks, I tripled my money. And I thought, whoa, this is easy. And I invested again here. In hindsight, getting sucked up into the bubble. In hindsight, it turned out to be a painful but very rewarding lesson, as I followed the market for the next 2 years as it deflated. However, this is where the crypto price is today, so the story ends well and back in profit. So as you can see, over the years, I've experienced some great gains, but also some even bigger crashes. So hopefully I can bring some experience to the table and help you navigate these waters. As always, if you do find anything useful in the video, be sure to drop a like. That would be much appreciated, as every like does help. Okay, sit back and relax, guys, as we try to answer the questions. How high can Bitcoin go? Should we be buying or selling right now? And how do we play this next cycle for maximum gains, but also limit our losses? So we are going to be looking at, first up, some useful facts about Bitcoin. We'll then look at the current situation and see where we're at right now. And then we'll answer the question, how high can this thing go? And when should we be selling? First up, some useful facts. So Bitcoin has a hard cap, meaning there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins ever mined. There's been approximately 19 million that have been mined already. If Bitcoin was a currency, then it would be the 5th largest currency in the world. There is a halving event which happens every 4 years. Miners get paid in Bitcoin, and every 4 years, what they earn get halved. This has big impacts on supply and demand, which we'll cover later on. And all the Bitcoin is due to be mined by 2140. So let's take a look at the current situation. If you were to bring up a chart on Bitcoin, then this is what you'll likely see. By default, it would be a linear chart. 3 things to point out. First, you'll notice there was this little blip in 2014. So remember this because I'm going to cover it in the next chart. This was the last cycle ending in 2018, where Bitcoin just got close to the $20,000 mark. And this is where we're at today. It did break through the $40,000, but it's since doing a pullback, which was probably very much needed. But if you were to look at this chart, you might think Bitcoin was in a bubble. However, things are not always what they seem. This is the exact same data, but this time we're going to look at a logarithmic chart. What's the difference? Well, this is when it goes up in multiples of 10. So 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, and so on. And this is also a very important way to look at charts. So now this time, do you remember that tiny little blip in 2014? Actually, this was a 10x movement. It went from 100 to 1,000. This was actually a much bigger movement than what we're seeing today. It was a huge run going from 100 to 1,000. This was the next cycle, which took us up close to 20,000. And again, this was a 10x movement going from 1,000 to 10,000. And this is where we're at today. It doesn't look so big anymore. In fact, if history repeats, then this says we could be going to $100,000 per Bitcoin. So how high can this thing go? However, first up, I just want to show you that as humans, our nature is to chase round numbers. We're looking at the dot-com bubble, which blew off in the year 2000. There was a 10-year build-up, and it ran all the way up here. And what was the round number? We got just past 5,000 before it came tumbling down. This was the last Bitcoin cycle of 2018. Again, a huge run up right up here, and everyone was chasing it to $20,000. It just fell short at 19,500 before some people cracked and it came tumbling down. And think about something as simple as setting your alarm in the morning. We always set our alarms for 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock. We never really set them for 6:26 or 6:57. We always go for round numbers. And this leads on to one of my favorite charts to track Bitcoin, which is the stock to flow model, and why I think it's going to $100,000 per Bitcoin. So we're going to spend a bit of time on this chart because it's really, really important. It's the best blueprint I know of to make sense of the Bitcoin market. It answers the questions, should we be buying or selling? It shows how high it could be going. In fact, these are the things that we're going to be covering. We'll explain exactly what the stock to flow model is. We'll look at the halving events, this moving average line, what do the colors mean, when do we buy and sell, how high is this thing going, and why Bitcoin moves in 4-year cycles. First up, what is stock to flow? So stock to flow ratios are used to evaluate the current stock of a commodity, which is the total amount available against the flow of new production, which is the amount mined in that specific year. So it takes into account supply and demand, and it's also built using data science. So as mentioned before, Bitcoin has these halving events which happen every 4 years. And this is what gives us cycles. We have a 4-year cycle here, a 4-year cycle here. We're moving into the next 4-year cycle. The main line that goes through is the moving average. And you'll notice that Bitcoin goes from moments of overvalued to undervalued. In general, when it's above the line, this is when you'd want to be selling, and when it's below the line, this is when you'd want to be buying. You'll notice it's color coordinated. So down here, the purple is the halving events, and this is how many days until the next halving event. So you'll notice there was a halving event here, which led to a big run up. There was a halving event here, which led to the last bull market. And there was a halving event here, and we're now in the middle of this next cycle. So how high can this thing go? Well, this would indicate that fair value is going to be around $80,000. But you'll notice in the last couple of cycles, we tend to blow right past it before pulling back. We blow right past fair value before reverting back to the mean. So this is why it wouldn't surprise me that this will actually blow through and get to or pass through $100,000. This model also shows that after the next 4-year cycle, as long as governments haven't banned it, Bitcoin could be moving to the $1 million mark. And another key takeaway is that this cycle starting 2012 was pretty much all the very, very early adopters and innovators. This next cycle that happened, this was the early retail investors. And I was part of this last cycle. This next cycle that we're about to go through, as the prices got so high, this is going to include a lot of institutional investors, big corporations, and family offices. So this next cycle is going to be quite different to the last one. I would expect it now to become less volatile as some major money starts moving in. So there you are, guys. That is how I am planning on playing this next Bitcoin cycle. The reason I really like the stock to flow model is that it's built using data science and takes into account supply and demand. It's showing that the next run we could be going to around $85,000. I think because of human nature and as we like to chase these even numbers, we could push it to 100,000 or even blow through it. For me, a selling point will be $90,000. So this is enough to make some great gains, but not too much to get caught being too greedy. Just a couple of things to point out. Know that everyone's situation is different. So I live in the UK. So in the UK, our tax year ends 5th of April. So I can take £12,000 of tax-free profit. And anyone living in the UK, this might also be a sell point to take some profits. Always remember that I can't guarantee that Bitcoin is going to $100,000. Ultimately, no one knows where the price is going. Could it shoot straight past all the way to $500,000? It could. Could it get banned by governments and end up crashing to nothing? It could. Are there going to be some big drops along the way? More than likely. For me, using stock to flow is better than just picking numbers, but be sure to do your own research and do what's right for you. I do think 2021 is going to be an explosive year for crypto, and I hope you found this research useful. In fact, if you did, if you wouldn't mind just taking 2 seconds to drop a like, that would be much appreciated. If you haven't yet subscribed, then I welcome you to click below and join our investing community. It'll also make sure that you never miss a video. Okay, cheers guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.